with nothing being done. I tore it down, made a nice grass lot. I in turn bought the house next door because it was a drug house. It was vacant, and I talked to people into selling it to me. So then I had 3 vacant lots. I've built one house on the property since then that sits on the edge of this problem, and I sold it immediately, just a small house. I understand that budgets are tight and everything else, but we've kicked this can down the road. Not you all, because you all haven't been here for that many years. I understand that. That's why I'm just bringing it to your attention. We need to fund some things more strenuously than what we have been in the past. I don't have the answer of where the money needs to come from. I wish I did, but I haven't had time to get out and actually try and do that. But it's really a problem. And I want everybody on council to think about this the next time that whoever brings anything in wanting money about funding a feel-good project. Yeah, it's going to look good, or it's going to be good for them. What about the problems that we're not funding? We need to really sit down and prioritize things a little better, I think. And secondly, is about the appearance of our neighborhoods. Like I said, I live on 22nd Street in Vienna. From Grand Central to 9th Avenue, from 21st to 23rd. I get out and walk, ride my bike, whatever. There's approximately 16 junk vehicles in those few blocks between 21st and 23rd. There's one sitting on the street that has been there for about 3 months, no license. And that's what I could see from the street, because I didn't go on anybody's property. It's beginning to look like a junk hole. The whole town is. It's not just this. There's some on 16th. There's some on 14th. It's all over. When I'm a retired fireman from Parkersburg, and we used to go around once a year, a code enforcement officer, a police officer, and a firefighter, and we would walk the streets, and we would find these problems and list them, contact the individual that lived there or owned them, give them so many days to take care of them. If they didn't, then we would tow the vehicle at their expense. I'm not saying that'll work here because we got a volunteer fire department. We only have basically one person in code, 2 part-timers that are here, but not very many hours a week, maybe 8 hours each a week. But we really need to step up because our city's not looking like it used to. I moved here 35 years ago, and I've noticed a large difference in the town in those 35 years. And thank you for letting me speak to you. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer any of them.
Thank you. Next we have Sabrina Cora, is that right?
Good evening. So I don't really like to speak in public, but I like to speak a lot, so we're going to do my best at both. I grew up in the city of Vienna. I have moved outside the city of Vienna. I'm contemplating and in the process of moving back. My parents live here as well, to the city of Vienna. The last several years I've been around doing different things, different places, causing problems, probably all of the good things or bad things, depending on how you look at it. But having grown up here my whole life, having kids that are of teenage, early 20 years of age, you know, we see that there's just not much for them to do. There's not much for kids to do in general in the area. That's not a new problem. That's not something we haven't all heard or addressed before at all. But my reason for being here this evening builds upon that and upon the fact that we are community in general, and that is in regards to Spencer's Landing. I've attended events that have been there. I've been to just I've been down there just to enjoy it on its own. And the Freedom Fest was great, by the way. Thank you and congratulations to everyone that helped put that on. But there need to be more events like that. Again, this is not new news to the council or anyone else in the town. And I'd like to be part of that solution by putting on those events. I have put in a application with Teresa for a couple of different events coming up in the month of September. And we'll see where that goes with the request that I made to do those events. One specifically why I'm here this evening is regarding a Labor Day event, which is open to the public, residents of Vienna and surrounding, of course, not limited. And just kind of building upon the Freedom Fest for 4th of July and those kind of activities. The issue or the problem I see foregoing, and I just spoke a minute ago, so I'm probably gonna learn all the rules later, but is that the inability to offer, I should use that word instead of sell necessarily, but sell or to offer alcohol at a large public event is a problem. And I know it's been addressed before, I'm sure, but is that when you have those type of events, you're always gonna have 50% of the people that are interested and 50% of the people that are not, give or take those percentages. What I want to help be part of the solution for is building the popularity of Spencer's Landing going forward with all the plans that you have. You have plans to build an bigger amphitheater and things on the water, and those are talked about all the time, and whether they happen or not and how soon they happen, that's not up to me, that's up to the council, the city, and the budgets. I understand that. But in creating that, it is hard to do events where either the people that have asked privately to have that event and you blow it up for them, or whether it's simply there's nothing going on between Freedom Fest and Glow with the O, and so you want something in that middle to bring the people to the area, or nothing happening between October and Freedom Fest next year, though I know that's not true, there's nothing in there, but is that the opportunity to offer that with certain restrictions would be much appreciated. It would be appreciated much sooner rather than later, because of the fact, of course, as we saw at Freedom Fest, there was alcohol served in a very small area because it met on a county property. And I understand the logistics of that, but you can't have, or rather, to have a successful large event, it's very hard to have a very small, concentrated, for lack of a better term, bar or alcoholic area when you'd like to be filling the park with all of your local residents and people and kids and activities going on. It's a very concentrated area. And then you run into different liability rules, laws, and restrictions that you're putting on the owner of that county property, which of course can all be met, which they have been, but it's very hard as an event person to have those things happen. So I'm speaking in hopes that, even though I know it may be in the foreseeable future, that even if there were variances or opportunities for a single event or single park versus all City of Vienna parks, just one, that there be allowed to be opportunity for those either hosting the event or the event sponsors themselves, that there would be an alcohol allowance for that location. Again, I know that's asking a lot, and I know that that's in a foreseeable future of fixing things as things grow, but in order to build the step process of the popularity of Spencer's Landing and build those events and keep creating them, I'd like to see it sooner rather than later, or at least the ability to ask sooner rather than later for an individualized event. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Sabrina Cora. Sabrina, what I would suggest before you walk away is call my exec, get on my calendar, and you can meet with myself and with Jack Mathers and potentially a couple others, and we'll go over all of the various things that surround that, and we'll get you educated and brought to speed up and see a way forward through that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Cora, C-O-R-R-A. And yes, Jack, I just did volunteer you for that. So.
I'm a new alcohol commissioner.
That was your nickname in college.
Oh, how quickly this meeting has digressed. There we go.
Social chairman.
That's a social chairman. The minutes from the regular council meeting on June 26, 2025 have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, the minutes will stand as approved and posted. Do we have a report of the treasurer?
I reviewed the reconciliations of funds dated July 2nd, 2025, and the short budget report at a high level and compared them to the previous month. The accounts are in order and the city of Vienna can pay its bills.
Are there any questions for the treasurer? Or from the treasurer?
I just got one comment, and I didn't get to ask Amy about it when we had our meeting the other day, is the city of Vienna gave a donation towards expenses, the Freedom Festival.
Yes.
Were there any other costs that the city incurred for that event, or was everything that was incurred what was donated?
So as usual, the Freedom Festival as a whole, we give a certain amount. Then we have the pluses that are on there. We have police support, public support, all of those various things that go into that. We have given an accounting, or I say we, I was not part of that in the past, but in the past, the city has given an account of what those expenses are so that a good look at what the total cost on that event could be. Some of those things are untrackable just because it's maintenance and upgrades or work that's done, but I'm sure that can be provided for again this year.
Okay.
That's not a new request, and I think they've dealt with that in the past. Mr. Skogstad, are you aware?
I think there's been an in-kind accounting in the past, for the city's in-kind, I guess donations or what have you. And some of that you're gonna have anyway, whenever you have a large public event, you're gonna wanna have law enforcement, you're gonna wanna have fire, whatever, the emergency responders presence, but we had some other things with public works that you also are gonna need just to help with the logistics of moving people in and out of the area safely. But yeah, that has been disclosed in the past.
It will be so, the same as this year. Moving on, we do not have any unfinished business, so moving on to new business, we have an update on the ITC from Dr. Jackson, and Lindsay are going to come and share with us now. And let's make sure that your computer's up and running, right? It seemed like it went to sleep on us.
Let's hope. You can stay here. Sure.
Well, I guess while she's getting ready, we can go ahead and say hello. We're excited to be with you today. We are going to share with you some pictures and images of what is happening up on the hill and let you know that we are a little bit behind schedule, not as bad as we could be with a project of this size. We will be able to offer classes by our August 18th deadline, which was the goal for our computer science and computer information classes that we'll be offering there. And that will proceed as planned. We had hoped to move in earlier in July, and that is, of course, not happening. I think one of your guest speakers referred to the excessive amount of rain that we've had recently, and that, of course, has put some of the grounds work that we're doing about 3 weeks behind schedule. So we will be opening with just the front lot as we finish the other lots. And so the whole project that we're working on right now to be fully completed will be in September, and we had hoped for that to happen, honestly, in the beginning of July. So a little bit behind schedule, but not in a way that we can't adjust and still be able to operate. So we're still very excited about where we're heading with the project.
These things kick off automatically.
So if you would happen to drive up to the location, that's not actually what you see yet, but that is what you will be seeing. So that's just the sign design that was approved this week. And it looks like it's actually there, but when you go up right now, don't be surprised that it's not, but that's what we'll be greeting you soon.
She tricked me too, so.
So, of course, we've done a lot with Windows and maybe, okay, there you go. So,
Please direct your attention to that one.
So windows and doors, and Lindsay can elaborate on this. The window and door project is a gift to the college as a result of a congressional allocation that the Development Authority was able to receive on behalf of WVUP. So we're very appreciative of that. And this just kind of shows you, the first image is some of the old windows. So that's one of the stairwells and the frosted windows that were in it, and just what the windows look like in total. And then as you go across, you can kind of see the transition of what those windows looked like as they began to be replaced. And of course, there was a lot of work on that. The window project itself was $1.2 million, and that's been expansive, but also very needed for the facility.
And that was for approximately 460 windows and 32 exterior doors.
And that actually is the annex building at the beginning of the campus too. So those windows have also been replaced. The windows that have not been replaced are the stained glass windows, and we've been able to keep those windows. So that's the back side of the campus and part of what will eventually become a community ground there in that beautiful mud pit. And eventually it won't be that, but it will be a location where we will have games for students and for others in the community. And at the corner of that location is actually where we will be moving the basketball, and we're going to do a pickleball court up on the main hill, as we have to move those as part of the road construction. So that'll be near that area. I always like to say you have to see the vision and not the reality. Those are classrooms, so she's showing you images throughout the time of what's really exciting in that first picture is that the ceiling is painted and it looks good, and then in the next picture what's really exciting is that we have lights. So we have expressed excitement over every little thing that's happened in this project, but those are classrooms.
Okay, you want me to talk about this one?
Yes.
Okay, so the slide that you see now and the handout that I gave to you, this is the conceptual overview of what the top of the hill surrounding the ITC will look like. So just to give you a base, I'll walk over here. So for those in the room that can't see it, this is the ITC campus as it currently sits. This is the future home of Vienna Elementary School. This is commercial space that's proposed to be built. We have three, I'll call them letters of intent, but they're verbal letters of intent from users who would like to locate this commercial space. Number 8 up here is either townhomes or a multi-tenant building, and this would be the proposed neighborhood development. So how it's currently laid out, we anticipate that there will be up to 75 homes that can be built surrounding ITC. And then Innovation Drive is what will come up 12th Street from between the Lowe's and the Sam's Club, and it will wrap up around the property. So we wanted you all to be able to see this concept rendering.
And then the back buildings are the residence halls, which will start housing some students beginning this fall.
Obviously, you ran out of money because we didn't get any glasses to see this. It's pretty small.
Well,
Rod, you just have to hold it out. And if you focus on it, the blurring becomes really
I'll email it
black.
to you and you can blow it up really big.
yeah, we'll have to send you an image that's
Our
larger.
apologies.
This is an entrance to the facility, and actually I was up there today double checking the blue color that's been ordered for that. So it's a steel structure, and it'll have metal perforated panels on it, and it will be lit, and so it will be a blue and white entrance. And is it just one?
It's just the one.
One image of that. This is what you will then enter into the lobby of the building.
So if you'll recall when we've gone on tours, this is the same door that you walked in then, just with a facelift.
Right, and the beautiful ephes that was on that building before was rotted, and it's a good thing we tore it down.
Speaking of rotted, these steps were rotted.
Yeah, the steps were quite deteriorated, and the steel in them was very rusty and deteriorating greatly. So those have been completely torn down, and we will be rebuilding those steps. And what this image doesn't show is that they will actually have a blue railing, and it will match, and so it will also have some of that perforated wall panels on it. This is a vision of the chapel. And what makes it so different? So if you had been in the chapel, you notice that yes, the stained glass windows do stay, The ceiling looks very different because it is a wooden ceiling that needed to be repaired because there were a couple of different leaks in that part of the building. But in addition to adding childcare to this facility, it required us to do a sprinkle of the entire building, and you couldn't really hide the sprinkler system in that room, and it's necessary for it to be there because the chapel sits above the daycare, which was the former library. So these are actually acoustic panels, and they will probably make this one of the best rooms for people to sing in anywhere, so that'll be very exciting. But we have gone with a blue and white theme. Kind of looks like clouds if you want to imagine it that way, but we believe it's beautiful and hope you agree. This is a vision of the lobby, and so what we are keeping there is the terrazzo floor, and we are keeping the marble walls. We're putting in some wainscoting, and we're doing some wood metal plank, not wood, they're going to be wood planks that are also acoustic panels, and they will be for the ceiling. And then the actual furniture that is ordered and is in storage and waiting to arrive is what you see on the opposite side there. So that's the actual furniture that we will have in that space. So put the two of them together and you can kind of see it's going to be pretty nice. We're doing a mixture of different furniture even in the classrooms. A lot of people now like standing desks, and so they'll have an opportunity to have some desks that are just automatically raised. They can have a higher seat, or they can just stand at them, or they can sit at a lower seat like is more common. This is a picture of a computer science classroom, also with the concept of retention built in mind. So in college world, you worry about enrollment and then you worry about retention. We have to get them there, and then we have to find a way to keep them. And a lot of times what keeps students is the relationship that they build with others. So there's collaboration spaces that are being built inside the campus in a variety of different locations. This is actually in a classroom, because the more those students have an opportunity to work together and become friends, the more likely they are to retain in a program. This is the podcasting studio, and so those panels there are actually also sound panels. And the podcasting studio is on the ground floor, and it will be a space that any business that utilizes the facility can use, because podcasts are very popular. They're not going to go away. People just create them on YouTube, but we're going to provide them with a state-of-the-art facility to be able to create them in a very nice way. So this building actually is going to have tablets that are outside of the doors, and there will be a navigation system when you walk into it. So it'll be techie. It should be. It's an innovation and technology center. And when you go to the door, you'll be able to see from that navigational sign what's happening all throughout the building. Then the tablets at each door for a classroom or other space where people can use it for public besides private office will tell you what's going on. This one, for example, people will be able to book time in that room from that tablet on the wall. So it'll be a nice opportunity. This is a conference room. Obviously, we're keeping with a theme of furniture looking the same. And this is a daycare. So it has been announced officially that Bright Beginnings Daycare with Community Resources is the partner that we have chosen for our daycare partner. And they will be leaving the church that they're in Parkersburg, and they will be going to our facility, and they'll be able to expand to 120 students, up to 130 if they choose. And right now they're at 60. So it's an opportunity for a lot of growth for childcare in this area. They've also partnered with WVU Medicine Camden Clark, and they're securing some of those spots so that their employees have an opportunity, and they're using it as a promotional way to bring new employees into the hospital in this area. And this is actually the residence halls. It's showing the image of what those multiple rooms look like, and then this is actually what one of the rooms will look like. It's honestly the furniture that's ordered, and it's honestly that beautiful orangish brown door that already exists. We are not replacing those 130 doors. They're still in good shape. They're just not a beautiful color. So we found a way to kind of tame down the orange brown color and really dress up the room in a nice way with durable furniture. And this is the first picture is really fun because Lindsay and I were at the ITC, and we were looking at different swaths of cloth and deciding exactly what furniture colors we were wanting, and we were trying to match the doors in the current chapel because they will remain, so we had a really good time. And we also have had the opportunity to do joint TV interviews and other presentations because this project only happens with collaboration. WVU Parkersburg does not have the capacity to do a 255 campus development at all. And so without the assistance of the Development Authority, we would not be able to do anything but the main building. And so we wanted to make sure that when you look at that much acreage in city limits and the opportunity to develop it, that's probably not gonna happen again in Vienna's future for you to have another 255 acres to develop. If it does, great. I'm not trying to wish it not to happen on you, but
Leave the door open for great things to come.
Okay, it's not going to happen in the next 10 years, all right? And so for us to be able to partner to do that has been a really great opportunity because we didn't want to make a mistake on the college side and not develop the land properly. So the relationships that we've had, not only with each other, but also with the school system, and then with both cities and with the utility boards and all the fun things that we get to do, it's been great. I will say, since one of our delegates is in the room, we were able to get 8 of our roofs replaced through some money by the Water Development Authority, and we know that that only came because of the great delegation that comes from Wood County, who were supportive of that project and the $700,000 that it provided us. So it's been a really great opportunity. Before she shows you some really cool images, I will give you an update. We will be taking out a loan to finish the project. Our college foundation will be taking out that loan, and it's a 3-year loan, and it's a large size. So we have a plan for the first year and what we pay back, and then we will again continue our capital campaign to be able to pay back the remainder of those over the next 3 years.
Now we're going to show you some fun promotional clips. They're short, but it gives a good overview of the campus. We know each of you have been up there at different times, but as someone that goes up weekly, I'm always shocked at how much has changed in just a couple of days' time. So I think you will be too. Hopefully it'll play.
You looking for audio?
There's no audio. It's just an 18-second drone video flying the
Just
site.
call it, you can narrate as the video.
If you look here.
I think you can see those beautiful blue roofs. They're quite nice. And then it's flying back into the space that will become the elementary school.
And you can see lots of mud from the recent rainstorms.
You can see that beautiful water tower.
It's definitely a water tower.
It's definitely a water tower.
You're gonna put your logo on it, right?
We're going to talk about that here in a second.
Now, when these are presented for promotional pieces, they will have some music, but these are very, very fresh videos. They came very recently. The point of them is just to show you the scope and size of just that part of the project, and that doesn't even get into all of the land that's already been cleared for the roadways, for the housing development, and the space for the elementary school as well. So again, this is a huge project in the fact that it's not just about education, but it's about economic development and it's about housing. And we have agreed on an industrial partner that will join us on the Hill, and they will be doing additive and subtractive manufacturing and making a lot of parts that right now people have to get overseas. So it's actually a good time for them to start that because of new tariff regulations. So we're very excited about that partnership. And we have signed paperwork for it, and we expect that they'll make an announcement pretty soon. It's also about childcare. And for us, it's also about transportation, because being able to get on a city bus route is very important for WVUP. I think I've told you before, a lot of our students don't have the ability to drive. We actually just started a driver's ed program this summer, and that's new for us. And we need a way for students to get to the campus, and they'll be able to get to the Vienna campus. And then we will be working with the Transit Authority. They are going to donate their best used bus to us. And they're getting new buses, so we're gonna get their best used bus. We're very excited about that. And we will be getting a bus driver to be able to then shuttle to the Route 47 campus. So we're excited about that opportunity as well. We would love to answer questions.
Lindsay, do you have anything that you're going to say you would like to add?
We like to talk. Yeah, she forgot about the water tower. I'll do it. Step aside. So, I got you. Couple things. Thank you, man.
You're gonna hang and paint the water tower yourself?
Yes, we are actually. No, I'm just kidding. I think Dr. Jackson, if she's not gonna say it, I will. She, I think, needs some assistance with the water tower. She did get a quote. It was approximately $25,000 to paint the water tower to get rid of the Ohio Valley University logo. That would keep the City of Vienna logo on the other side and just leave the other side white. So something to consider. Not asking you to answer it right now, but just throwing it out there. But
is your intention to have your logo put on the other side of that?
Yes, over time.
How do you want to talk about water and sewer?
Sure.
Okay. Couple things I do want to touch on. I really want to thank Craig and his team and the mayor. Everybody was super helpful. So as we navigated the process with the rendering that you're looking at in front of you, that I narrated earlier, when we first started having conversations about providing water and sewer on top of the hill, we got some estimates for Vienna Utility Board to do that. And it was approximately $12 million. So that it was a huge amount. Vienna, luckily, is not a distressed community, but unluckily, that doesn't qualify you for certain grants and pots of funding that can typically be obtained. So with that being said, Ryan Taylor and I kind of had a eureka moment where we realized that Parkersburg Utility Board runs right around Encompass Health. And so with Craig's blessing and the mayor's blessing, we have been working with Parkersburg Utility Board, and so the homes will be in the City of Vienna, but the water and sewer will be offered by Parkersburg Utility Board, and that was at a cost of about $1 million. So it was by far the most economical and easiest and fastest way to be able to get that going. So we've been working on that, probably for about the last 3 months. So we will continue to work on that process, and then as far as roadway, we were the recipient of Industrial Access Road grant dollars for last fiscal year. We intend to apply for those funds again in the fiscal year that just started July 1. So that will pay for a good portion of the road that will go on 12th. Pickering is hopeful to put that out to bid in September. I always caution a little bit because we're at the mercy of Department of Highways when it comes to Department of Highways Industrial Access Road grants. But that is the path that we have chosen to take for that road. And again, if any of you have any questions about anything that Dr. Jackson and I talked about tonight, always feel free to call us. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. We're happy to take you up through the property if you'd like to see it, as always. So just let us know. But we did want to give you an update because it's been a while since you've been up there and things have rapidly changed and progressed as you have seen tonight.
We are planning a community grand opening in October. We have pushed that back to October to make sure that all of the groundwork is ready for people. So.
I drive around up there quite frequently. I just drive up through, kind of make a loop and come back down. And I'm always amazed at the amount of cars that are up there. I mean, just packed. Everywhere you can park a car, there's a car and there's work being done absolutely everywhere. Dr. Jackson and Lindsay, you both are to be commended on the work that you have done. A project of this magnitude takes incredible skill in the way of leadership, vision, and determination to see it through. And the two of you teamed together have shown that. And I know Vienna is going to benefit from it for generations to come. And we're just, I think I can speak for the council and say we are excited that we get to be a part of what you guys are doing because it really will bring generational change to Vienna, and it's just exciting. But the work that you two have done, short of incredible, it's just been amazing.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions or comments they'd like to make? Go ahead.
Again, I just want to echo exactly what Mayor said. I mean, I think about the vision part of it. I mean, it seems like you guys have really thought of everything. And knowing that this great facility is coming to our city, I mean, I'm excited about it. I did have a question, just, and this looking, there's a need for housing in Vienna, and I love that you solved the problem of the water sewer thing. That's great. The question I have is, has there been any consideration? I know you have some townhomes here. Was there any consideration of maybe having like a more of a townhome style community up there where you could really, fit more front doors into the space that we have? And was that something that you guys had? I know you have it kind of out already, but I just wondered if that was considered, if there was any.
Okay. So we've had different discussions, and the single family homes are definitely needed. The townhomes, I think they're rendering, weren't there like 32?
There's gonna be more than what's in the rendering in front of you for townhomes.
So that was just to show what could easily be sat on the property. We've thought of everything as it pertains to housing. The difficult part with housing, just being transparent, is we're looking for someone, hopefully, to come in that wants to build all of these homes, because it's very hard to sell off one lot or two lots here and there. If we want to find a larger builder, we always want to work with local people. We have a list of some folks who, when it's time, have expressed interest. We would love to sell them off in bigger chunks, which is why the single family homes are appealing. People have shown an interest in that. I think as you see the rendering evolve, you will see townhomes. You'll probably see some more multi-tenant, and you'll definitely see single family. So I think there will be a good mixture. One thing we've been asked quite a bit when folks have seen that rendering, which it's new, so not many people have, but price points of homes comes up frequently. And I will tell you, and I don't like it as much as the next person does, it is impossible right now to build a $150,000 house and for a builder to make money. So as much as I understand and know that we need affordable housing, you will likely not see affordable housing on that hill. That's why the townhomes are geared towards students being able to afford them. So we're trying to work that in. But low to moderate income census tracts are where most people have to build the subsidized homes for affordable housing. And as far as I know, Vienna has none of those census tracts. So there's a couple pockets in the city of Parkersburg that they look to build. We do get that question frequently. So I just want to be very transparent that it will not be affordable housing on the hill unless a builder somewhere can pull off a miracle that I'm unaware of. But we do not know the exact price point at this time.
And just thank you. And one other comment. I love the pond. I hope that's something that's a feature that's going to remain. I'm sure Mr. Metz loves the pond as well for his storm water. But yeah, is it going to be something that could be fished in, or is it just strictly retention?
I believe it's strictly retention, but that would be a Ryan Taylor question. Okay. So I will figure out the answer and get back to you on that. But it will be there once the homes are built.
You might be able to fish in it, but you might not want to eat it.
So, on the diagram, there are approximately 50 or 51.
Yeah, there's yet another tract that is going to show up later in the lower part of the property that will have more homes on it.
And these are all single. I don't want to say proposal, but the
current rendering.
Thank you. The current rendering, those are roughly 50 or so single family units.
Correct.
And then I guess the second question is, as far as the city of Vienna itself goes, how soon do you need the city, or are you ready to ask the city what it needs to do as far as zoning to help facilitate this stuff? Because I think of all the things that we've talked about, that's one that can be immediately dealt with.
That was actually sent to Kevin Parrish last week, a recommendation from Pickering on what needed to be done, and the mayor has that as well. So we have begun working on that, yes.
Yeah, we are excited to appear before zoning soon.
Can you make a note?
That sentence has never been
I said, can you make a note?
Write that down.
If you're unaware, Ms. Rhodes is the chair of the Planning Commission, which will bring up some of those topics. And of course, Melvin sits on that as well, so.
Well, we hope you've seen our letter.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
Just want, so when you talked about, Melvin can speak to this too. We don't really have the builders in this area that can take on a project this scope and art. So you've got like Dan Ryan builders and different, that come in, and I think what you're talking about, somebody's willing to come in and build spec houses and take a large chunk of this. What kind of outreach do you have going to maybe contact builders of that scope that might have some interest in this?
So what we've been waiting on is water and sewer, and we were making sure that we could get down the path to have water and sewer installed. We decided early on, we being the executive committee and the board of the Parkersburg Wood County Area Development Authority and the Wood County Development Authority, that we thought that it would be in the best interest of the city of Vienna and the property to go ahead and have the water and sewer installed instead of relying on a builder to come in and do that. We think the lots would be more valuable. We think it would save time. Like I said, there's been several local builders who are on a list that we're keeping at the office who have expressed interest. Between them, they might gobble up some of it, half of it. I'm not sure. My personal preference would always be to give local builders the opportunity to do it first and then go after someone else that maybe is in state or a larger builder. So that's kind of the game plan that we've had. We're waiting again on a preliminary engineering report for the water and sewer right now that'll give us more concrete numbers and a timeline, and then we will do it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If there are no other further questions or comments, I thank you both. Is there a way, can we get copies of that presentation and such? And if so, can we make it available for public site,
That's fine.
That's fine.
public view? All right, because I'd like to post that in.
Well, just so people know, that sign at the entrance is not there yet.
And the water tower still says.
Right, the water tower really needs to lose that other logo of the place that no longer exists, so we would appreciate your support.
Whose name will not be spoken.
Will not be spoken.
Excuse
Thank
me,
you. Yes.
just one thing, how much was the cost to put your logo up on the water tower? I heard, was it $25,000?
The cost
Just
to
15 is 20.
The cost to remove the one that is there is $25,000. We do not know the cost to put a different one up. Our goal right now is to remove.
So you don't have a huge sticker or anything like that?
Graffiti?
Lindsay says she'll do it with a Sharpie.
I'm not afraid of heights, so I will crawl up there, but just give
Thank
me a
you.
color match.
Color man. Well, hopefully people won't be looking at both sides at the same time. Moving on to our next item on the agenda is the bid recommendation for salt for streets. Mr. Sassen.
Sealed bids for Costa Concrete, oops, sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Flip one too many. Sealed bids for salt de-icer for the 2025-26 budget year were opened on Tuesday, June 24th, 2025 at 9 a.m. with the following results. Morton Salt, $123.24 a ton delivered, $123.24 a ton picked up. Compass Minerals, $111.37 a ton delivered, $105 a ton picked up. Cargill, $123.02 a ton delivered, $124 a ton picked up. That's not a typo. We double checked that one. That was probably you're not wanting people to show up to pick stuff up. That's why there's the upcharge. After careful review of the bid proposals, the recommendation for council approval from the Budget and Finance Committee for salt is with Compass Minerals for $111.37 a ton delivered, $105 a ton picked up. Funding for this project is budgeted in the city's general fund account 01-570-55-41.
Do I have a motion on the floor to accept the bid proposal for Compass Minerals? I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, do I have any discussion?
Yes, I have a question. I just have to comment. Mr. Metz did provide the bid comparisons from last year to this year, so it saves us some time asking what is the comparison. So everyone should have a copy of that.
Yep.
Jim said, I just wanted to mention that. Thank you, Mr. Metz.
And during the discussion on Tuesday, we asked Craig about how much he salt he used this past year, and he says it's going to be about the same that he's looking for this time, so comparable.
Do we have any discussion or questions? Having none, having a motion and a second, all those in favor of accepting the bid proposal from Compass Minerals, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Sassen, moving on to the next item on our agenda, streets for concrete.
Sealed bids for the cost of concrete replacement were opened on Tuesday, June 24th, 2025 at 9:15 a.m. with the following results. Only one company bid, Jimmy Harper Construction. Concrete replacement was for $30 a square foot. Subgrade replacement was for $20 a square foot. Sidewalk replacement was for $30 a square foot. After careful review of bid proposals, the recommendation for council approval from the Budget and Finance Committee for concrete replacement for the 2025-2026 budget year is Jimmy Harper Construction for $30 a square foot for concrete replacement, subgrade replacement at $20 a square foot, and sidewalk replacement for $30 a square foot. One thing to note, Amy sent out the note to everybody about the fiscal year, so this will go up until December 31st. On January 1st, it's going to have to go up for bid again. Craig explained to us that rates are going up on concrete. Primary funding for this project is budgeted in the city's general fund, account 01-570-65-58, but may also be utilized by other departments.
Do I have a motion on the floor to accept the bid proposal from Jimmy Harper Construction?
Yes. Second.
I have a Ms. Rhodes and Mr. Dietzler second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just,
Go ahead.
just a question, and I don't know if this came up during the meeting. I guess I'm just trying to understand why we only had one interested party on this bid. Is there something, did we have any answers on that? Nobody else was interested in bidding on the
We
concrete?
asked the question, they were the only ones that bid.
There wasn't anything special in the bid process that would exclude anybody or that would limit the field. It was a basic announcement and request for services. This is what we got. Unfortunately, we at least got one. It would have been really bad had we got none. Or, Mr. Metz would have been out pouring concrete, right? How's your finishing skills? But fortunately, we did have, we did get one to be able to move on.
And I don't know if you want to do it with this one, or if you want to do it after we talk about the paving, but let Mr. Metz go up and talk about the handout that he gave everybody, because it's going to deal with the street paving, concrete repairs, and his list of the streets in the order that they ought to be addressed, and if there's water lines that need to be repaired because they're leaking, which street needs to initially be skipped and so on. Until the second one.
Let's get through these next three items, then before we go to reports and standing boards. Craig, if you'll come and go over what your plan is.
Sure. Because it wasn't initially on the agenda, that's why I wanted to pick it up either here or if you're
Yeah,
willing to.
well, we can do it right before the reports and he can review everything.
Okay.
Will that work? You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
Was there any, and just continuing on the same thought, were there any additional people who bid on this last year, the previous year? I was looking at the stuff that was provided, and if that.
I think there were two concrete bidders last year, is that correct?
Year before, and then the second bidder was $110 square foot, Harper was $35.
The most I can remember us having has been like two.
Yeah.
what we're discovering with most things when it comes to city operation is companies aren't interested in bidding. They're not interested, you know, it's a long process to put in the bid, go through the work, do everything that you have to do, then you may not get the bid. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. We still have to go through that process. We just don't have a lot of takers, you know, that are willing to do that. Does that answer your question? Any other discussion? Have a motion and a second. All those in favor of accepting the bid proposal from Jimmy Harbor Construction signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passes unanimously. And what's behind window number 3?
Behind window number 3, sealed bids for as-needed asphalt paving for the 2025-26 budget year were opened on June 24th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. with the following results. There's only one company, Affordable Asphalt Maintenance. 3-inch milling was at 90 cents a square foot. 4-inch milling was at $1.05 a square foot. Paving with a 2-inch base and 1-inch wearing was $2.99 a square foot. Paving with a 3-inch base and 1-inch wearing was $3.63 a square foot. 2-inch overlay was $2 a square foot. And the next 3 items are on a per each basis. So raising of the manhole is for each manhole is $200. The stormwater catch basin riser is $800 each to raise it. And the water valve riser is $125 per water valve. So after careful review of bid proposals, a recommendation for council approval from the Budget and Finance Committee for as-needed asphalt paving is for Affordable Asphalt Maintenance. I just read those numbers, so I'm not going to go through it again. It'll be in the minutes. Funding the project is budgeted in the city's general fund account is 01-570-65-58, but may be utilized by other city departments.
Do I have a motion on the floor to accept the bid from Affordable Asphalt Maintenance?
Moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Is there any discussion?
I got a comment because I know he's going to ask it. Yes, we did ask if there was another paver, and the one that came to mind was Kelly Paving, and they didn't. So the only person that bid was Affordable Asphalt.
Anything else?
Well, it just, I'm wondering if it's maybe something, and maybe Craig and I can talk about this at a later date, but I'm wondering if maybe it's something the city would be able to do to attract more bidders. Obviously, everybody understands that whenever one person, and I'm not saying this is the case here at all, I'm just making an observation that if one company continually gains the bid over time, they control the price because there's no competition. Again, I'm not saying that's the case right now, but it could become the case over time. And obviously, it's always healthy in a free market or whatever society that we live in. It's always better to have more people competing against each other to get the best price for the city, which is the point of the whole bid process. So.
You gotta remember.
Jim, do you have the history over the last 8 years when you had it? I mean, it seems like even then it was slim pickings.
I mean, we've had Brown Asphalt in the past, and they've in fact often won it. I don't know why they didn't bid this year.
The Waverly, the people, not
No, he's down Route 47, John Brown.
Okay, that's
Yeah, they're third generation paver to do a good job, but I don't know why that we didn't get a bid from them this year.
I don't either.
But
John
and I think Russ would answer this question. Part of the issue is, our bid process obviously is dictated by state law.
It is.
Right, so we can't kind of give a more streamlined, or there's nothing, it's not within our control. It's Bob's problem.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. One of the things, particularly with Wood County, we're on the river and we're on the border with Ohio. Before you can even pick up a bid, before you can make a bid or pick up a bid packet or what have you, you have to be a licensed West Virginia. You have to have West Virginia contractor's business license and all that. So there may be, geographically, there may be companies in Ohio across the river from us that would be able to do work that we could use, but they're just not interested in taking the extra steps that statutes have, put on them. And I understand why they're there, but that's one of the issues that folks don't consider here is, we're limited to what's to the east of us.
If I'm right, we passed the reciprocity for contractors.
Yeah.
Across state lines. I mean, maybe that would offer, address the point you're talking about.
Part of it, you're going to have to educate people that's something that's available. And for the last 50 years, we've done it one way, and then recently we've changed it. And I don't know that a lot of businesses know that.
And I'll say, Henry, to your question, it fluctuates. Sometimes, we've had years where we've only had one salt bid. We've had years where we've had, but usually concrete, we've seen Smith, we've seen in recent years that I recall. I can look, obviously, but yeah, so it's not always a single bidder, but I think that it is, because, just from a personal aspect, we have a computer company, and we would used to bid at WP and, contracts out there. And it just got to the point where it's just so cumbersome that we just gave it up. It was just like, it wasn't worth the trouble. That's part of the problem.
A good example too is our flowers. 3 years in a row, there was one bid.
It's gonna be hard to get a big company in there when they go out and pay Route 50, make $10 million off a mile of the road, and you come here, and they're not gonna work for $500,000. So it's just not waste time, especially in the city, the details and what you gotta work around. They'd much rather go out and pave a highway and just pull. So.
Any other discussion? Having none, having a motion and a second, all those in favor of accepting the bid proposal as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. All right, our last and final agenda item. Mr. Sassen. Do we have another one?
No.
Was that it? No, there's one more.
Ready mix.
Ready mix concrete.
Oh, there it is.
Ha-ha.
Yeah. So there's one more. Sealed bids for the Costa Ready Mix Concrete and Flowable Fill were opened on Tuesday, June 24, 25 at 9:45 a.m. with the following results. Smith Concrete, LSO backfill at $149 a cubic yard. Class B, $180 a cubic yard. The Wells Group for LSM backfill, $160 a cubic yard. Class B, $180 a cubic yard. On here, Craig mentioned there was no fuel surcharge for the Wells Group, correct?
For Smith.
Okay. Oh, for the Smith, okay. And this is also only good through December 31st of 2025. After careful review of the bid proposals, the recommendation for council approval from the Budget and Finance Committee for concrete replacement for the current time period until December 31st, 2025 is with Smith Concrete, LSM backfill for $149 a cubic yard, and Class B for $180 a cubic yard. Primary funding for this project is budgeted in the city's general fund, account 01-570-65-58, but may be utilized by other departments.
Do I have a motion to accept the proposal from Smith Concrete as submitted?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Craig mentioned on Tuesday that the, on with Smith, was what the Class B went up $5 versus prior year, and then like the LSM backfill is down $1.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting the bid proposal from Smith Concrete signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. Craig, would you like to come up and give us a little back brief on what you're proposing for roads and repairs?
Yeah. I'll give y'all each a map of proposed paving projects. different colors, rod. So I do want to make one correction. When you, Henry, when you mentioned the reference to the change or the end the contract on poured concrete, the only one that ends is the Smith Concrete. The one reference to Harper, it has a built-in 15% increase at the first of the year. So it's good for the full year. The only one that's good for the half year is the concrete itself. Okay. But back to the paving, I'll give you a color-coded map of what I propose to do this year and give you all options of what you can look at. Each color is broke down. The reds is what we paid last year. The green areas is your option map, and the orange areas is what I'd like to do. That can change. Y'all can go out and look at the roads. If you don't see or don't think it needs one to be done, we can pull off the list and add one to it. We currently have, what, $800,000 in budget for paving and concrete work. So just doing the areas in orange is $502,000. So
Don't we currently have 900,000?
get 900,000. So
900, you said you do everything, it's what, 4 million bucks?
yeah. So
4 mil?
I also give you a list of the concrete repair streets that we need to address. If you look at that list, you'll see road repairs and different types of road repairs. They're all concrete, but you'll see a water leak repair, and that will be paid from the water department. You'll see water and sewer taps, that'll be paid in water and sewer departments. And if you notice down here, it says that around manhole areas, that'll be paid out of the sewer department. If it's a storm drain issue on the street we had to take up, then it'll be paid out of stormwater department, okay? So just give you a list, but you can see on that list of concrete, you're probably looking at about $1.2 million in concrete repair that we'd have to do just to keep up with that list. So.
When we did the budgeting at the beginning of this year and went over, we had to have a starting point. I mean, we could have made that starting point absolutely anything, I'm sure, but we had to, factor in the ability to get it done. So what my intention was then, or the intention that I tried to make then, and what my intention is now is, Mr. Metz has his current budget of roughly $900,000. If the weather permits and we have the ability to do such, once we get those things taken care of, my intention is to come back to council through the budget process and request more funds if the calendar and the weather permit us to do such. And that's kind of where we're, that's the sticky bailiwick. We could say we're gonna put $10 million in roads, but if we don't have the weather to be able to do it, or the companies to be able to do it, we're kind of at a standstill. So we want to push as hard as we can to get done what we can get done, then readdress this when we come to, that point. So that is my outlook on it and my intention to be able to provide the city with the resources that it needs, and Public Works, the resources that they need to be able to do as much as they can in the time and the calendar year that we can get it done. Mr. Sassen.
From the list that Craig put together, I asked on Tuesday if that took into account pools or, puddling. There's no drainage, and he said no. This was only to fix structural issues with the road, correct?
You reference to storm drain issues, or?
Yeah, like where the roads are set up, and it looks like you have a fishing pond in the center or something.
Yeah, what we do is when we pave it, if there's bellies and roads like that, we'll take it out with the paving, so it helps with the water flow. Okay, but if you have a low-lying area that's going to retain water, you can't take that out unless you put a couple of feet of asphalt. That's not going to happen. So.
Because in wintertime, that turns into ice skating in some places.
Go ahead.
Mr. Metz, I noticed you got the areas proposed to be paved 2025. I was looking, it says the 12th Street Bridge to 13th Avenue, is it calling out, maybe is it $630,000 for the concrete on that bridge, is that what that?
No, it's a price of the street concrete, with all concrete.
Oh.
No, we're not gonna do anything next to the bridge. If you notice, that bridge structure stops, the paving stops before it gets to the bridge, and also 27th Street also stops before it gets to the bridge, because them will be under construction next year. That is just the roads are directed up to the bridge structures. Okay. The bridge structures are being paid by the state. I give you an option of what it costs in concrete and what it take in asphalt. I did the same thing up the subdivision off of 3rd Avenue, Rivercrest. If you look at that, it's done in green. To do that subdivision is $206,000 in concrete, or $21,000 to do it in asphalt. So, concrete is very expensive to work with.
Is it, and I'm assuming this is being done in consideration for the potential of the school, or the school possibly going up, and then the Innovation Drive connecting in to 12th Street. Has there been consideration made for any kind of widening of that road or anything like that?
Not this time, because the bridge is not get widened out. The bridge structure will stay the same. It's not gonna get any wider, it's gonna get any longer. They refused to replace that bridge like we requested. I think if they replaced that bridge, it could have helped the flood control structures in that area and stop that necking down of water, but they elected to just rehab that bridge. There's no widening, there's no lengthening on that bridge.
Thank you.
27th Street will be replaced completely, and so will 17th.
So I asked you, at the budget finance about time frame that you want council to get back. Are you looking within a week or two?
Yeah, I talked to the paving is that what you're referring to? I talked to the paving contractor for this week, for budget and finance, and he has a couple of big projects he wants to get started. He's doing school systems, and I think it's, Highland County, or I'm not sure what is that, but, he'd like to get started as soon as he can. So I told him once, we approve it through council, then I would sit down with you guys and make sure the roads are good, and I can get with him. Later part next week or the following week, and he would like to start.
Thank you.
Is that something that you wanna do with council as a whole, or how do you wanna?
You've never voted on it before. It's usually just a mutual agreement. Last year we had, you go ahead.
We discussed that during the meeting. What we recommended is he's got a list of the priorities, the way he would rank them, for us to go out and take a look at how we would rank them. Craig was willing to consolidate everyone's comments, bring it back to the council during the meeting, and then we can make a decision.
Yeah. We did that last year on 34th Street example. Didn't know which way to go. The council elected to go ahead and put an asphalt overlay 34th Street instead of replacing concrete, and we add that to the list. So it wasn't voted on, it was just elected. Everybody kind of said, hey, we want to do this. So.
Mr. Ditzler, you have anything to add? All right, we obviously want to get on it as quickly as possible so that we have the utilization of absolutely all of the time that we can to make improvements. So I would encourage council members to please make this a priority, and we can do that. Craig, if there's anything you need from me, if you want to sit and talk and go over any of these things, I will make myself available whenever needed.
And just one thing, I remember from last year, and I believe they attempted to address it, but at the top of 23rd Street, you know where I'm talking, how it makes the turn, there's that low line spot. The water was getting trapped there right after they had paved it, and they came in and they cut a group. Are they gonna be able to address that whenever they come back in for this work?
We in-house will address that. We're gonna dig that out and put additional catch basin in that particular area. I've tried paving that thing 3 times, and with the approach of that driveway being right there, I can't, if I make it too high or make it too low where it drains, the driveway's too steep, catches it, make it too high, the water doesn't drain into it. So we're gonna excavate that out and add additional catch basin approximately about 20 feet from that to catch that water. So that's on our list, not the pavers.
Does anyone have any other questions or comments for Craig?
Just to confirm, this is in your order of how you need, right?
No, this is just a list of concrete. All these need repair. So
No, I know.
there's no. I mean, these are all open areas. A lot of times, especially water leaks, there's no concrete there. So that's one that'll be addressed at first. But if it's severely cracked, there's some streets like 20th Street. We had some erosion issues under taking the sand out. It's collapsed. That's on the concrete list. That's what we'll be doing. So that's the areas that we will have to address within a year.
So I would ask that you take the two lists that he's given, all of council, take time over the course of the next week to be able to review that, get those back to Craig. What deadline would you like to set?
I'd like to make that decision at least by next Thursday, and I can meet the contractor and go over with him Friday and Monday and say, okay, this is streets we want you to start on. He'll move in and start paving.
So let's set a suspense at by noon on Thursday
That'd be great.
of next week. That way he can have time to look at it throughout
Yeah.
that day, then move on at the next.
Or if we need more time, I'll just push the contractor back. He just wanted to really get started. So
I'd like to move on as quickly as possible.
Sure.
So that's the suspense, next Thursday at noon to Craig. Mr.
Just
Sessom?
for clarity, if you look on the second page, halfway down, the correct way to read your writing on this one would be 29th Street up to 10th Avenue.
yeah. Is that for the concrete?
It just says street concrete, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
So just for clarity and for sake of records, that's July 17th at noon.
Yeah.
All right. While you're standing there, can you give us an update on the Jackson Park bridges and the renovation of McDonough restrooms?
Especially the pouring foundation for the bridges. The bridge structure is completed. Harper's building in his garage. Once he gets the foundation done, he's going to come out and set the bridges with cranes. Beautiful bridges. They turned out really
They're very
nice.
nice.
You've seen them. I don't know if y'all made it down to Harper's. It's actually pretty impressive. Huge I-beams. You could drive a car across these things and you're not going to have a problem. The bathroom, they're going to start finishing pouring the concrete and finish it next week, weather permitting. And that will finish up the restrooms at McDonough, which is really nice. I get a lot of comments. If you all been up at McDonough and looked at the bathrooms, they're epoxy flooring, the stainless steel dividers, handicap accessible, the sinks, the structures and that, and the new roofing, plus the new siding. It really made a nice restroom. They're also heated now and vented properly. So.
The bridges, I have went several times down to the garage to look at them, and you're more than willing to, if you'd like to go down and look at them, I'm sure they'd let you. They are exceptionally nice, and they are, what would you say, twice as wide as what's currently there?
Oh, yeah.
The way that he made them was not that they were just handicapped accessible, but because they're considered a pathway bridge, they have to be wide enough that two people can pass in wheelchairs on the bridge. So they are huge, and they will sit there most likely for the next 75 or more years. But they've been really well constructed, and I was happy about that. Bathrooms as well look tremendous. If you're not taking time to go up there and look, I know it's probably hard to get excited about restrooms, but it's a great improvement.
And it should help with snakes too. So we've made a lot more snake proof than it was before. So there's a lot of snakes on that restroom.
They did find a rather large, was it a black snake that you guys found?
Several black snakes. You cut the bottom of the wall out, run the restroom and the outside sheeting. I thought the snakes was inside that little room divider for the plumbing utility room. But when they cut the wall out for, raised up to half a foot for the water, so keep water damage out, the snake just started falling out in between that
So if
siding.
you were within a half a mile when they did that, you could hear Craig screaming.
Well, the guy didn't even work for the city, not threatening to fire him, all right? So, but he turned him loose, so, I do not like snakes. So.
Then just a brief update on where we stand with the kayak launch.
State, it's 100% completed, reference to Burst and Nyepel. State is finished up permits and it should go. I know it's supposed to be bid out in June. A little delay between our engineers and state, just keep bouncing back and forth and make corrections on drawings. That the drawings have been submitted 100%. The state needs to get their permit for the funding and something like that, grants.
The approval for our 20% match
Yeah,
is
so,
what the Secretary's office is doing.
We'll get out the bid and hopefully, I guess now in August, we can start.
Probably wouldn't take the conclusion, so do work really.
It's supposed to be out in June, start in July, first end date in October, so end of October. If I get the pipe, put the ramp in or the kayak launch in for a week and take it back out, but it will go in, so we'll get good practice on it.
Does anyone have any other questions for Craig? Before he steps away, I just want to commend you over the work you've done over the last couple of months. It has been exceptional. You have served the city very well. You have for years, but you have done exceptional work that I have witnessed and supervised over the course of the last few months, and I just want to say thank you for that.
I appreciate it. It's not on me.
I
got a good group of guys, all right? I mean, you got to remember, my supporting staff is huge. With the office staff, Jack, I mean, I think my back, I carry him around during the Freedom Festival. We did get done, okay?
But I just want to say thank you and let you know that I appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, done a great job, DJ. So.
Look, I used to be cool in a past life. Thank you, Craig, for all those updates. Moving on to reports from standing boards or committees. Do you have anything in regards to the rink, floor hockey?
Yeah, basically as soon as the bridges are set, we'll be able to, I believe Mr. Harper is using the parking area
To set the bridges.
yeah, for his construction, and kind of get the bridges set and everything. So as soon as those are complete and he's out of there, we'll be able, the exact words from, Mr. Slusher was, he has more people than necessary on standby to get those things installed. So.
I know that there has been a great deal of excitement that's going on about that. Ms. Rhodes, do you have anything?
No, planning commission meeting is the 28th of April at 5:30. And
Of April of next year? You're really planning.
I did that last year too.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It must be the A of July.
I'm still back 2 months ago.
That's it.
28th day of July.
Yeah.
Anyone else with reports or closing council comments?
A couple of things. So first of all, August 1st, the Wood County Prevention Coalition is having a nature scavenger hunt. It's going to be for all school-age kids. It's a great opportunity for kids to come out to see the McDonough Wildlife Refuge is
Look, he almost got you from the back.
where it's being held completely free. The kids get to actually come in and hunt through the woods or the wildlife refuge for different items, and there's prizes available. There's food. It's a great free event for our community. It's happening August 1st, which is a Friday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. I encourage everyone, let your kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, anybody know about it. It's going to be a good time. There's going to be a transit bus that will actually take all the participants from the bottom of where the baseball fields are and busing them up and back and forth up to the upper parking lot, because there will be no parking available at the top of the hill. So again, August 1st, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then just wanted to address a couple things. Again, Mr. Turner, I appreciate you coming in. I obviously was able to hear your comments and stuff. And I wanted to say, I agree wholeheartedly. Appearances are important. And you know, to your comment of the issues of junk cars and vehicles, and I think there's some things, and I'm going to do a little bit of research on my own to see what I can find. But I do believe appearances are important for our city, and I think that's one thing I take I'm personally working on. You know, trying to think of ways that we can improve appearances around town. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and hopefully, you know, I can do a little bit of research, or I can have somebody I know do a little bit of research and figure out, you know, what kind of ordinances we have.
If we have an ordinance for junk cars, we have a junk car ordinance, we have a junk general ordinance. And it distinguishes between cars parked on the street, which is generally what you refer to, and we also have an ordinance to try to deal with cars that are on private property. But I'm sure Mr. Parrish has been I'm sure our code enforcement officer has been working diligently on that, but he's got a lot of things to do.
And then lastly, Ms. Cora, as far as the alcohol on public premises, I agree. I think there could be maybe like private ticketed events, and maybe we can try and figure out a way as a city to open that up, the Spencer's Landing, up to having private ticketed events for you know, occasions like that. I don't believe that it would be a good scene for something that the city was putting on, or for a public, open to the public event, as far as having alcoholic beverages on city property. But I definitely think it's something worth considering, maybe trying to figure out if there's a way we can make, you know, because I agree, anything we can do to bring people into our town is always going to be a good thing for our city. So thank you for your comments.
I'm just going to quickly disagree. I think there can be circumstances where the city sponsored events, and I like the Taste of Parkersburg, we characterize that as a private event, you know, a public event there. You know, I think that
Can you use your microphone?
anyway, so I think that this is something that is going to be
Can you pull your microphone over?
topic of comment. Well, probably no one's going to hear what I say anyway. But yeah, so I don't know that I would draw a line like that, Tony. And this is going to be an issue that we'll talk about moving into the future. Not any big deal tonight. My comment, you know, we got the booklet that Jack had produced by Ms. Allman. Everybody's received a copy of it. It's very professional. I don't see any credit for her in here.
It's in there on the back.
Is it on the back? I just clicked on it.
Back there at the bottom.
Okay, so in any event, so I made the comment about Craig controlling the weather for the Freedom Festival. All right, and you know, and the bass guy was then, anyways, like this Magic River, you know, because we were held off for lightning, and then they did come out, and you know, the sky was ominous, right? And both Friday and Saturday night, we really caught a break, right? And the show went on, you know, but having that's just such a good example of how this covered structure and what we're trying to accomplish at Spencer's Landing, you know, would remove a lot of that uncertainty, you know, because that could just destroy the event. I mean, and so, anyways, I just want to make that point, and again, echo that, you know, the whole city did a great job. Freedom Festival was enjoyed by a lot of people.
And I would just like to add to that, you know, what we're trying to accomplish here at Spencer's Landing is something that you probably don't see up and down the river until you probably get to Wheeling, maybe even farther up the river, and maybe down the river down to Huntington. This is going to be a huge event. We get this accomplished. It is going to bring a lot of economic stimulus into this area. I hope it does come to fruition, and as the person sitting on council, I'm going to support it 100% on this, and I think other council members may be as well. But we need to get this accomplished, and kudos to Ms. Allman and Jack for putting this together. I've seen it. I think it's a great document for presentation purposes. and to get money to get this thing accomplished. So, great job.
I got a couple of things real quick. First one is for Russ and Jim. You guys maybe have a history since you've been here the longest with the property. John said 50 years, it's been a flooding issue. Is there any history or information that you guys have that you can share with us?
I'll jump in first, because we discussed this in some detail when Melvin was at the utility board meeting yesterday. You know, these improvements have to come from that designated fund. We can't address this with general funds. It's stormwater. Craig estimated addressing that problem would be about $100,000, both the size, and he can talk about it a lot better than I can, but the size of the discharge pipe, the size of the pump. You know, Melvin's situation is not unique in the city. I even put Craig on the spot, and I said that, you know, we are seeing increasing heavy stormwater events like we haven't experienced, say, over the last 30 years. Everybody, I think, knows and so we're getting inundated, and that's, you know, because it's like on the same one where you say it's got 2 feet of water, you know, backed up into my warehouse, and I called IBS. I had to get some jetting done. And he's like, we got it everywhere, all over, you know, Solvay called, you know, he's like, I got people calling me everywhere because of this rate event he had. But so that's the challenge. And then we talked about, if in fact that's the case, you know, we were talking about ordinances, and you know, I quoted you, you know, if we got an ordinance that's enforceable, it makes sense to enforce, you know, so when we have, you know, downspouts jetting into the street, all right, we have an ordinance regarding that. There's an opportunity to create, I think Craig termed it a rain garden,
Yes.
a way to do almost like a dry well in your yard and so on, and you take that. Also, we revisited the issue of commercial, you know, stormwater cost, which is virtually nothing to, and whereas we don't want to increase fees, I'm never for that. You know, this stormwater issue is and Melvin even referenced when he was up there. And he kind of knew that water was there when he bought the properties. And you kind of come to the nuisance a little bit like that. You say, but he would like, and he's right. It's been 50 years. It needs addressed. And so I suggested to Craig that, you know, maybe we do want to revisit maybe some additional enforcement on these ordinances in a positive way, in a way we maybe give people some type of incentive. Maybe we abate your stormwater fee for a little period of time if you put in a rain garden, whatever. And in administering, that's always a question too. So I'm not saying that's even a good idea.
I think it could be done. We have a similar program with trees. I like the idea of you abate it, and there's, you know, the city meets you in some way on the fees.
And so, yeah, so but Craig's aware of the situation. We're limited in the funds we have, our storm, you know, if you look at the 5, and so the same thing, you know, do we need to kind of revisit maybe and I'm just trying to learn on the utility board. I mean, I have general understanding where everything's going on, but I ask a lot of questions, you know, and maybe revisit the 5-year plan with respect to stormwater a little bit. But it's not an easily solvable issue, especially with the limited funds we have to address it. We can't, you know, we can't pull it from general fund. We can't, you know, but, and again, that's just like the bidding process, state law, right? It's how we have to roll.
Okay. The other thing too was comment about vehicles on the street. There's no inspection tag in West Virginia. It's expired. That the vehicle can be towed, correct?
Yeah, I need to look at the ordinance to get my memory right on the time period, but there's a question about, there's a time period that you can have a vehicle that's parked on the street without an inspection sticker, without registration, once that time period is passed, it can be towed.
Okay, because I always knew that you can have that if it was on your personal property.
Well,
If it's on the street, city property, it can be yanked.
In Vienna, if it's on your personal property, it needs to be covered with an actual car cover. Like, one of the issues we're having is, I'm a car guy. I understand that guys, you know, tow a little bit slower when they're getting some of their car projects done. And, you know, the hard part of enforcing it is when you go up and you go, well, it's just a junk car. It's a junk car to you, but for me, that's my baby. I've been working on that for 10 years. And so we've tried to find a compromise, and we're like, look, if you're not working on it, but it has to have a car cover on it.
There's many, you see with a car cover and cement blocks.
Yeah, we're not
like that for years.
Our ordinance says, it says specifically, you can't just throw a tarp over it and some cinder blocks.
Okay.
You know, I mean, and we have a means for enforcement. We've dealt with that issue. And generally, people have been pretty good. from what I understand, in cooperating with the city on addressing those issues. I think some of the time it's just, they're, Vienna's hard to drive through in some places, and you don't always just see, you don't see everything. So I think if folks bring it to our code enforcement's attention, he's been pretty good about getting those things dealt with.
Okay. And then going through with the WVU, the technology center, that was neat. One of the things for the city to consider though is, as that whole area is going to get a lot of traffic and development, that means the inhabitants there are going to flock more into the city limits down where the residents live. Is there any way the city can think about possibly putting in like a food plot someplace where you plow, a field or a section of a field, you plant, that way they stay in a certain area? Because when we did that up at the old carbide plant, that worked.
You're talking about deer?
Yeah, like putting in a food plot. And even if you can do one there right off where McDonough, where that one field is where they cut hay, you can put something in there to keep them off the road. Because when you get up into behind Lowe's and get up on that hill, the deer in the evening get really bad. And then the other place you see a lot of them is around Jackson Park. But then you can be driving around and it looks like kids playing in the street. So if you start pushing all those out, they're gonna go someplace.
Our deer population is obviously something that we have to deal with, however we can, and that's just nature of the beast right at the present time, but we can look at alternate ways of dealing with some of that. Ms. Rose, did you have something?
I just wanted to say to Jack, the publication that you all did was great. I thought it was very well done, very well laid out. It was very attractive. I'm sure it's going to be really helpful in marketing Spencer's Landing. The other thing I wanted to say, Ms. Cora, is I agree with Jim Leach that, when we look at the alcohol in Vienna, we need to go past the private, and we need to look at public, and we need to look at how that works with everything. So I'm right there with you on that.
I agree on that, and with, I appreciate Sabrina and Carol coming down here. Getting an event Labor Day. Parkersburg has the Taste of Parkersburg and Downtown Throwdown. We might want to check with Downtown PKB that runs that, but those both have alcohol on public property, so it doesn't have to be private property that it's done. We just have to figure out the details on that. On the vehicles, I've had complaints about the one on 46th Street, for example.
It's been there for years.
Yeah, he just sits it out there and it's a hazard.
Is that that truck?
At one time, I think it was a trailer and then.
Then something else and then something else.
I
Now
did
it's
it
that
3
big truck.
times.
That's your.
It's been there for 15 years like that.
But another issue that was raised after the last meeting, I was talking to one of our officers, is these, and people complaining to me about it, these kids riding vehicles, powered vehicles all through the town. It doesn't bother me that they do. What bothers me is that one of them's gonna get killed, and we're gonna feel pretty bad about it. We need to consider an ordinance to prohibit that, and to hold the parents. In other words, you can't ticket a kid, but you can fine the parents if the kid's riding around on vehicles. They don't look at the stop signs or anything. I was headed up 34th Street, and which is one way, and there's a kid coming, an almost adult kid coming on a motorized scooter directly toward me. I mean, I don't try to run them off the road or anything, but I worry about somebody that doesn't, that just isn't aware of that. As a lawyer that always has to sue people when people get hurt, I'm much more aware of it, so I kind of drive a little slower than the average person when I'm going through a neighborhood and I'm watching for kids coming around, but not everybody's watching for these kids darting out. And one of them is going to get, well, we've already had some serious injuries, but we're going to have one get killed here pretty soon. And I truly think we need to consider an ordinance that regulates and prohibits the motorized operation of vehicles by scooters, bikes, whatever, on city streets that are, and maybe you can limit it to, certain streets. I mean, I don't wanna prevent kids from having fun, but there's no common sense to it right now. But those weren't the topics I really wanted to address. I mentioned last time about a, donation to the city to help with the soccer field, and if somebody could let me know if we're going to get the, full-size soccer field up there off of, Rosemar. I need to know if we need if it's gonna be done, the Digital Foundation will make a donation to help move whatever needs to be moved to get cleared out there so that we can have that. We need to know the timeline on that. If it's not gonna be done this year, we have to donate a certain amount each year out of our foundation. We're gonna donate it to somebody else if the city's not gonna use it. So I just need to know on that. And then if we're ever gonna get the artificial turf field for the full-size field, we have a much more substantial donation, and we need to know so we can set aside funds for that too.
Tony, let's set a meeting, with, either, it doesn't necessarily have to be all of VRIA or.
Mr. Nelson.
Let's set that meeting and let's, the four of us sit down and discuss that and figure out what that looks like so we can, potentially bring that, or a recommendation to council and get that addressed and get it taken care of. Sound good? All right, I'm gonna close things out.
Just one comment about the scooters.
I was gonna close things out. Go ahead.
No, with the scooters, I stopped the kids, they have been no helmets, flip-flops, or Crocs. And if a kid gets hurt, it's gonna be some serious injury, so.
We have an ordinance that could probably, we passed the motorized golf cart, UTV, ATV ordinance. And if you guys want, we could probably tweak that to expand it. We specifically don't let kids drive go-karts in the streets. If we could add some definitions to it, so you guys have some ideas, then we can go and, add some things in here and maybe regulate it a little bit more. But we have an ordinance that addresses some of those, but it doesn't address all of them.
To be effective, we're gonna have to be able to find the parents. We can't just enforce it with the kids. The parents are gonna have to be held responsible.
All right, I'm gonna close this out real quick. We've been at this for basically, 6 full months now, right? We came together, at the beginning of this year. All of us really new except, Jim in the city of Vienna. Harry has experience, in other areas. And look, I am very just happy and pleased with how we have come together on a lot of things. And if you look at what we've done, if you laid out everything we've accomplished in the past 6 months, it's quite amazing. We have accomplished a great deal, from improvements to the parks, to Spencer's Landing, to all of these various things. It has been just a very beneficial time in the city of Vienna, and that is owed to this council, this body coming together and being able to work through those issues that we had brought to us and successfully accomplish them. So I want to say thank you for that. I want to say thank you to the Friends of Vienna and everyone, and Jack that worked so hard on the Freedom Festival. We're estimating that there were probably 15 or 16,000 people over the course of the weekend that were down there. The Vienna Police Department did a exceptional job of getting everybody out, all of those cars we had down there, and they were packed. They cleared out all of traffic in 20 minutes. And I was so highly impressed by that, and by the service by all of our officers. So thank you, members of council, for your support and your diligence in working towards all the common goals we've set forward in the city. And thank you for all of the residents and businesses that help make this just a wonderful place to live. This meeting stands adjourned.
Thank you, Mayor.